All right, hello lacrosse friends. Welcome to the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Some Blue Division action for you this afternoon. The United States taking on England. There you see the roster from England. Cole Schaefer, number 41, has been outstanding from them. Of course, the big name, Nick Rose, has been an absolutely critical element tending the twine for the English. At the other end of the floor, the big thing you will see is number 22, Casey Powell, is in the lineup today. His first game with the U.S. at this championship. That is a big difference maker for the United States. Casey Powell, one of the best players ever to grab a lacrosse stick, and he has come out to play with this team. And when you add a legend like that to your roster, it can make an absolutely huge difference to the way your team can perform. We'll see how Casey Powell fits in on his first day as he adjusts back to playing with these guys. But obviously a legend within the American team. He's pretty familiar with the rest of these players. I'm Steven Stamp, bringing you this WILC contest. Michael Gillen pulls the first draw back away from CJ Costable, and England has possession. Costable trying to take out Chris Manwaring, but Manwaring holds on to it. The alternate captain for the Three Lions will pass the ball back. And England wearing the red uniforms, going from our right to left on the screen. The USA wearing their white with the blue crests on the chest. They will go left to right to start. Sam Clare drives to the net, gets a shot. Jake Hennock just gets enough of it. That's a long outlet pass. It's picked up by Ryan Hotelling. He's got Kevin Buchanan there to pick up the ball from him. And the offense will get set. Buchanan sets a couple of picks on big Tyson Rowe, the 6'10 defender. The only man in this tournament that I have to look up to physically. See, he is 6'10, I am 6'9. Nick Rose, a little adventure with the ball there as he picks it up, but it all works out. Tom Johnson, a veteran of this English team. Played for the Stealth franchise in the National Lacrosse League. That's going to be an over and back as Johnson's pass doesn't connect. And he's just going to put it down. Smart move because they have started to call more and more delay of game penalties as we go along. Brian McGill, the defender for the U.S., leaves it there for Marcus Holman. Joe Rezaterit's out. Jeff Ratcliffe. No Casey Powell on this shift as Ratcliffe's going to fight for that ball. England picks up the loose ball. Nice play by Michael Gillen to toss it out, and Manwaring's going to run the floor. Looking to get it ahead, but some back checking. Hard work there by Marcus Holman. Leach has the ball. David Leach goes down low. Hasn't got many teammates with him, and now here comes Walker off the bench. We're going to have a moving pick call. And U.S. gets the ball, heads up the floor. And there's Casey Powell. He's got the blue head on the stick. The yellow shooting strings makes it nice and easy to spot him. Plus, of course, the orange soles to the shoes. Casey Powell goes down low, starts to drive to the net, goes by Tyson Rowe, and just like that, a sweeping sidearm shot bounces past Nick Rose, and it's 1-0 on the Casey Powell goal. We said he'd have an impact, but couldn't have known it would be this quick of an impact. Pretty impressive. Casey Powell jumping right in there. 1-0, the U.S. takes the lead. England, of course, one of the Blue Division teams, one of the top 5 teams ranked coming into this tournament, but there's always been a division between the top 3 being Canada, the Iroquois, and the United States, who have won the gold, silver medal in that order in every World Championship held, all 3 of them. England and Czech Republic both trying to work the way up to be able to compete with those teams. Holman's going to move it over to Walters. Thule goes through to create some space. The shot by Holman goes wide. The shot clock will expire, but England picks it up. Didn't establish possession, so they'll get the ball. Almost a mistake there by the English defense, picking the ball up, as that could have caused them to have possession, and the U.S. could have checked them right away instead with the shot clock expiring. they're able to retain possession. Cole Schaefer recently at the Minto Cup with the Coquitlam Adnex, having a tremendous tournament for England. There's a shot from outside, but right into the belly of Jake Henhock by Tom Johnson. Of course, we've now mentioned both goalies, Jake Henhock starting for the United States, and Nick Rose between the pipes for England. Rose has been beaten once already, and there's a shot by Powell looking for his second goal of the game. It's going to bounce out wide, be an over and back call, and Jeff Reynolds will get on top of that ball just to check any English player who picks it up. It'll be Nathan Clare. Nathan and Sam Clare, of course, brothers who work very well together. Over on the far side of the floor, David Leach flips it back to Walker. William Walker unable to catch that one. The U.S. takes off with it. Manny gets over to his side as Greg Downing runs some interference. He gives it to McGill. McGill seemed a little surprised to get the pass. He was running up with them, but again, a bit of an adventure for Rose as he handles that ball. Passes it out, but England is going to move it ahead. Sam Clare directing traffic. And Andy Ellison will head back to the bench. That ball lost by the Brits. Nice little strip effort there by Nathan Clare. Did knock the ball loose, but it went straight back to the Americans. Joe Resiteritz will run down the floor, the native of Hamburg, New York. A standout for the Rochester Nighthawks this year in the National Lacrosse League after being traded from the Buffalo Bandits, where he's a teammate in Rochester with Joe Walters. Kevin Buchanan, the New England Blackhawk, can't get that one. It's picked up by Buchanan, though. Very alert by the American captain, Tyson Rowe, on him. Rowe with a big push. Goes after him. Another nice little check on Buchanan. A pick and a nice behind-the-back pass by Marcus Holman, just a little bit wide for Resiteritz. Pass up to Gillen. He catches that in stride, takes off up the floor. Sees Walters closing on him and passes it off. John Arthur trying to advance the ball, but it is knocked out of his stick. CJ Kosovo comes up with it and hands it off to Marcus Holman. Holman's just going to flip the ball there for Casey Powell. He hits Ratcliffe coming down the middle. It pops away from him, and Ellison's going to pick that one up. Ellison gives it back to Jack Foster, and they're moving up the floor. Sam Clare looking for the ball as he runs over towards the boards, but instead, we're going to see Manwaring run around behind the net. Getting some attention from Greg Downing. Schaefer cuts down low, trying to work his way through. I'll tell you, he faced a very good defense in the Six Nations Arrows in the Minto Cup, but nothing like the size and physicality that he's facing here in the United States. They have some big boys with some good defensive skills. Brent Manny, some Chris O'Doherty, some very, very solid defenders on that roster. They're moving it down low, come back up to the top. Quick ball movement by the Americans. Nice little cut, but Kevin Buchanan is hit. That's a big hit there by Alan Keeley, the alternate captain for the Brits. Taking up Buchanan as he went to the net. England gets the defenders out as the U.S. makes their way back up the floor, and Casey Powell takes the pass. He's going to survey the floor, still waiting for their fifth attacker. It's Joe Resiteritz. Walters moving back and forth. Resiteritz gets it and shoots. Rose has that in his gear. Going to make the long outlet pass to Manwaring. Just behind him, he almost caught it. Garrett Thule is back with him, and Manwaring loses the ball. Just about had it, and if he'd been able to catch it, he did have a step on Thule and could have turned and gotten a shot off. Powell on the far side, passes it through. That's a great pass, but just not quite able to finish was Jeff Ratcliffe. There's a rush down the far side. Cutting to the net, jumping up and trying to tuck it over top. That's not going to quite work out for Sam Clare. Fresh 30, though, for the Brits. Arthur gets it over here on the near side to William Walker. Walker drives, starts to spin towards the net, but he lost the ball. It's picked up by Brent Manny, New England Black Wolves veteran defender. big, strong presence. Pass across to Walters. He's banged into the boards, spins back out of it. Garrett Thule will take a shot and scores. Far side, just gets it squeaking past Nick Rose and just inside the far post. That shot by Thule, not a whole lot of room. Shows you the talent this club does possess. Face off. Hotaling facing off against Gillen. Costable and Hotaling sharing duties for England, for the U.S. The Swiss players here in the building after their very tight 9-7 loss to Serbia. We're going to have the media timeout midway through the first quarter. It's 2-0 in favor of the United States. Goals from Casey Powell and Garrett Thule, giving them the lead. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more of the 2015 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back to England versus the United States. I'm Stephen Stamp bringing you this WILC World Championships game between these two countries in the blue division. I'm joined by Joe Darkins of Team England. Joe, thanks for making your way up to the booth.
Thank you very much for having me.
It's a pleasure to have. I decided it should be accent day. I had Eben Locke of Australia on the last game, and I asked Jamie Tasco if there was somebody who would be good at the job and had an accent, so that the viewers could enjoy listening to another accent.
Yeah, absolutely. Hopefully I'm up to the job for you.
You're doing a fine job so far. It's great to have you along, and obviously a big challenge for your club as you guys take on this powerful U.S. team. You have had a day to rest after the really tough loss you took to the Czech Republic, so going to see how much of an effort, how close you can get to this club. Obviously the U.S. favored, but we do have a sneaky 6-on-5 coming as Nick Rose goes to the bench. They get it to Chris Manwaring. He shoots. A save by Jake Henhock. England gets the ball back. Rose making his way back. And now we have 6 player runners on the floor as well as Rose, but the refs didn't notice it. So a bit of a break for the English side. Manwaring gets the ball back. Gets away from Chris O'Doherty, runs into C.J. Costable, and Manwaring showing he's a big, strong body. A little push by Schaefer, though, and they turn the ball over on a possession call.
Yeah, Manwaring's actually a defender as well.
I thought it was a little unusually standing out there. Jake Henhock makes his way to the bench now as there is a hand up for a penalty. It's going to be a shot coming out. Casey Powell takes the ball, 13 seconds on the shot clock. The U.S. slowing things down a little bit. There's a pass right in front. The stop made by Rose off of Jeff Ratcliffe, but the U.S. gets it back. Casey Powell across to Thule. Thule's going to get it up top to Walters, who will take a couple of steps, cut through, and go to Thule. Walters getting abused a little bit in there. Oh, and Jeff Ratcliffe hit by Garrett Thule's shot, and Thule heads over to apologize. Ratcliffe popped up pretty quickly, but that does not feel good when you get hit by a shot from that close.
He's shaking his head there. That looked really painful.
We do have a result for anyone paying attention to the other side of the pool, to the R&B. It is a too many men call. So I guess the ref saw it. It's funny because nobody's hand went up. while you had 6 runners on the floor as well as Rose. There was a little confusion because the defender and Rose both ran out the door when a forward came to the bench, but now they have made the call. So it will be a U.S. power play. They lead 2-0 with 5:40 to go here in the first quarter. Powell's working up top, fires. Rose with a shrug save as he went to his knees. On the crease, Ratcliffe kind of jumped in place, didn't get across the crease at all, and Rose just stayed put and stopped that. Reset for the U.S. It's always tough for the defenders when the power play gets a reset. It happens very often, of course. There's a shot off the post. Bounced the net back a couple of inches. It'll be a fresh 30 for the States once Jake Henhock picks this one up. Gives it off to Casey Powell. And as mentioning earlier, what a huge addition it is for Casey Powell to arrive for Team USA after he couldn't be here on the weekend for the first couple of games. There's a shot that Rose gets a piece of, and Nick Rose so far keeping England in this game just down 2-0 after some great opportunities for the U.S. team early in the game, but now they cash in. Joe Walters is coming across the top and fires that shot. Walters, who showed off just how accurately he can shoot against the Iroquois in their opening game, has another one here.
England always knew that the USA is really going to be the fitter team. Really trying to focus on making sure that our positioning is there and that we're anticipating play to make sure that we're not trying to run them up and down the field because, ultimately they're going to be better than we are.
Yeah, just mentioning there are results from the red and green crossover games, the consolation round. Turkey and Germany. Turkey involved in a 21-17 game in the first opening round when they lost to Australia. Today they win 21-16 over Germany. That would have been quite a game to see, Joe.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it would have been a really good game to see.
There's a break for Michael Gillen. Sorry, as he gets away and scores. Brilliant play by the Creators Cup champion with the Barrie Blizzard, Michael Gillen, who just sprinted up the floor and over and back. And so many times the team that's on defense will just kind of give up on it, but Gillen sprinted after that.
He really gives his all for the team. Absolutely 110% every single time he steps on the field. And he's carrying a bit of a knock on his ankle as well. So, that breakaway is not a small feat for him to be able to make it all the way up there and finish.
Interesting, because I saw him a little earlier, and he was kind of running after a ball and looked like he was just not running with the ball. He didn't seem as quick as usual. I mean, he's not a speedster, but he can usually get up the floor fairly well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell that he's carrying a little bit of knock the way he's running.
U.S. gets possession back. They lead 3-1. Thule, the late man, and that one's going to bounce off into the English bench. Brian McGill, the first man off the bench for the U.S. defense. Now the rest of the team comes out and joins them. William Walker, watched by Joe Smith, well up high, and that pass is going to skip off the stick of Tom Johnson into the mesh. And that's the kind of thing you really need to avoid if you're an underdog.
Absolutely, and you see two unforced errors there, one by the American team and then one by the English team, so not ideal at all.
Kevin Buchanan on his offside, fires that one wide, bounces off.
Great ground ball by Gillen.
But they give it away. Walters behind the back, whips it high over the net. Buchanan will slow things down a little bit, passing it down into the corner.
Yeah, time for USA to take a breath there.
Casey Powell with a shot off the boards. Powell's going to get it back. Powell didn't take long to get into this game, into this tournament. Just moments in, there's a shot by Thule that misses Nick Rose. I thought it may have just grazed off him, but they're going to say it went up into the mesh directly. So England gets the ball, but Powell with a sweep shot goal to start scoring here. Great effort there by Claire, but still, Manny coming up with the ball and tossing it forward. Here comes the U.S. They've got a 3-on-3. See if they're going to push the pace. They're not at this point. Walters throws it down deep. Kevin Buchanan. Big pick on Ellison, but he recovers, goes over and picks up Joe Walters. Thule comes late, gets the ball. He's just going to let it fly. Rose had that one lined up. Here comes Tyson Rowe. Joel White off the bench, and he's going to earn a penalty for the U.S. for an early substitution. Nathan Clare spins off and sets up. Tyson Rowe staying out there. He wants the ball. He's on the crease. The pass hit Joel White in the face. So White earns the penalty, being the first man off the bench a little early, and then gets hit in the face for his troubles as he's defending. England will go to the power play, trailing 3-1. Nice chance for this club to really set up in the offensive zone, get some movement, and try and develop a good look. Cole Schaefer, the diminutive forward from Coquitlam, will set up on top. And I'll tell you, Schaefer has shown an absolute willingness to go to the middle of the floor, to go wherever he's got to do to try and create opportunities.
Absolutely, and not only that, he's got a great attitude. At Drexel at the moment, really switched on kid as well. Here he is starting off.
Over to the far side. Claire gives it back to Schaefer. Manwaring stepping up into the power play, so he's definitely taking an offensive role today, a little unusual for him. Schaefer tries to get the pass over. It's tipped. They're going to say it's not tipped. I thought it went off of a U.S. player, but it just goes straight up into the mesh. And the Americans run the floor, kind of shoveling the ball in back behind him to get it to the offensive guy, who's Brian McGill. And Casey Powell carrying the ball along the boards. Alan Keeley on him. The U.S. with 7 more seconds they can kill. They get the shot off, though, a bit early, and Nick Rose just swallows it up. We'll see, there's Manwaring coming back out for the power play. So a little surprise to you, it sounds like, as well, that he's up there.
He was always down to be attacked. He was one of the top scorers in 2011 in Prague, the entire tournament. Local club team plays defense, but attack is friendly. Great finish.
And it works out, a perfect finish, a very quick release on the far side. I believe that's Tom Johnson letting that one go. And nope.
Nate Clare, I think.
It is Nathan Clare. Clare's lost the 1 in front of the 7 there for a moment. And Nathan Clare with the very quick release, beating Jake Henhock, who's coming across, and a 3-2 score. Pretty good situation right now for England, and this is the kind of game you want where you can, like you said, control the pace and play a bit more 5-on-5 with this American club rather than turning into a track meet. Tyson Rowe up in the offensive zone again, going after that ball, but can't quite come up with it. Marcus Holman will just run up the floor. Tyson Rowe racing back. He's got those long legs, and when he gets them going, he can really move. Holman battling down low with Beadle. Then Gillen knocks his man down. The U.S. swings the ball around quickly, and Buchanan goes low to high into the upper chest of Nick Rose. Here comes Gillen, and again, you can see him straining a bit as he runs. Makes a nice little shovel pass over to Johnson. Walker looked like he might cut to the net, but kind of slowed down instead. And going over to center was Tom Johnson. And hard to put much of the blame on that for that on Johnson. Nobody was really coming to help him.
No, not at all. He really looked isolated, and you can't stand by the halfway line with the ball like that. America always going to press you and push you.
Casey Powell pass across. Walters looked like he may rip. Now he's going to go low. Bounce one. Rose gets it. Picked up. Manwaring will toss it ahead. Nick Rose asking if he's coming to the bench. I think the coach is saying wait till we get the ball over mid-floor, which they don't do. Walters is down there. Good thing Rose was there, and he makes the save.
Nick Rose was such a big player for England in the last game as well. Really fantastic player.
You saw that Chris O'Doherty hit coming, and Manwaring just managed to slip off the worst of it. Walker on the far side, they try and get it to him, but it's tipped down. Good effort as they only had about 4 seconds left, and that was their best chance. Tom Johnson was cutting in late up the top, and I'm not sure they would have had time for him to get there, get the pass through, and get the shot. So they attempted, but 3-2 for the U.S. after 1 quarter of play, which went very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, 3-2, England won't be too disheartened with that scoreline either. USA really used to putting a lot more goals against the opposition, especially against the Czech Republic. They were a lot higher up at the end of the first quarter as well.
We'll take a quick break during the intermission. We'll be back. I'm Stephen Stamp with Joe Darkins, bringing you this World Indoor Lacrosse Championship Blue Division game. Welcome back, lacrosse friends, to the Onondaga Nation Arena here on the Onondaga Nation in upstate New York. I'm Stephen Stamp with Joe Darkins, bringing you U.S. versus England in the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships Blue Division. The U.S. Certainly favorites in this game, as they are the three-time bronze medalists, and expected to probably finish in that position again. I would have to say Canada, the overwhelming favorites coming into this tournament. When you look at that roster they had, everyone talking about it, but the Iroquois certainly gave them a run last night.
That was an unbelievable game. Certainly in the first half, the Iroquois were just playing some lacrosse that I've never seen before.
Up 8-4, tremendous half that they played, and just couldn't hold on to it. Interesting that the Iroquois were up 8-4 against the U.S. at halftime, or closer, or just after the halftime.
Yep.
I believe when they in that game as well, the U.S. came back and got to 8-7. They just couldn't continue. And of course, Canada, a little more depth, a little more potent, and was able to finish the job. But certainly a potential gold medal preview that would be a pretty exciting one if they can recreate that. U.S. moving around the floor. Casey Powell with a nice pass to Rezateris, and Joe Rezateris just misses the far side. Garrett Thule, the cadet from West Point Academy, gets the shot off by Rezateris this time. Thule's going to chase it down. Buchanan will actually get there first. We'll get a fresh 30. The shot clock did expire, but it was just not reset. So the referees get it going. Everyone waits, and away we go. Casey Powell hooks that one, goes up towards the ceiling, over and back. It'll be England possession, and Sam Clare has it. Cole Schaefer cutting in, spinning back, and they're going to set it up. Oh, it goes away from Johnson. Johnson kind of grabs on to the U.S. player. And they're going to say a loose ball foul on England, or on the U.S., I mean. Bit of a break for England, is grabbing that shoulder. Could have been called. Joe Walters over on the far boards. I think what a couple of people have told me about that, mentioned about the Iroquois-Canada game, is how cleanly played it was. There wasn't a lot of rough stuff. I mean, a physical, aggressive game, but not degenerating into too much whacking and hacking and kind of bringing it down into the gutter at all.
Absolutely. I think the Iroquois really really coming into this tournament looking very, very strong.
Yeah.
I think they've had a lot of preparation into this tournament as well. They look really, really fit, really, really switched on, and they've really taken steps up again.
Walker's going to throw the ball down, rolling around a couple of double screen, banging it off the post.
David Leach with the shot. Almost got it in. They're going to come back out to Arthur. Arthur's going to try and drive between a pair of defenders. Turns out to not be a good idea, as he's sandwiched by Doherty and Manny. Reset as the U.S. goes up the floor. Ellison leads the English defenders out of the back gate. Powell takes it on the bounce, and the U.S. gets their offensive players out. Casey Powell gets a screen, rolls off it, shoots. That one bangs off a defender. Ratcliffe heading down low. Up top to Powell. 3 seconds to shoot, so Thule will let it rip. Goes off the shaft of the stick, it looked like, of Nick Rose. Comes back over mid-floor, comes out to Casey Powell, and it's going to be a fresh 30 for the United States. Jeff Ratcliffe, a big body who's just repeatedly setting picks for Casey Powell. That's when you know you have a good teammate, when he just recognizes his job is to create space for a clear star in Powell. He takes the pass down. It's a little high for him, actually. Gets past him. Manwaring goes after him. Yeah, America not really looking too physical in attack as well.
Yeah. Garrett Thule, usually a physical player, gets that shot away in time, but it's wide of the net. And England will take possession, trailing 3-2. And if they can just bang one in here and get tied, I think you'd have a pretty happy English group if you told them beforehand that they could be within a goal or tie at this point of the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to have a moving pick. Ball goes back up the other way, and U.S. now pushing the pace. There's a pass from Hotaling to Holman. Nice job. Yeah, go ahead.
That's exactly where America is dangerous, especially in the transition. As soon as that turnover happened, America is straight on you. It'll be interesting in the third and fourth quarter when England get a bit more tired to see whether, how the concentration stays up.
There's a pass out. Chris O'Doherty. He's going to take his time running the ball up. O'Doherty, a veteran defender with the Vancouver Stealth in the National Lacrosse League. A little over half the U.S. team are National Lacrosse League players. Several play Major League Lacrosse. They do have some guys whose primary sport is field lacrosse. Ball knocked ahead to himself by Ellison. Nice job to come up with that possession.
Great pickup.
Oh, but he throws it away. Gillen couldn't quite catch it. And then Gillen slows down and gives the U.S. a chance as Walters sprints up, comes over to Holman, who just misses.
Nick Rose once again coming up with great save for him.
Just gets the toe on it, at least the toe cap. That ball bounces up out of play. U.S. has the ball back. Resetera, it's rolling high. The penalty coming to England. One of the defenders is drawing a penalty, taking a penalty. Joe Walters waiting for Jake Henhock to sprint to the bench.
So another 13 on the clock.
Lots of time to set up, and Casey Powell will fire it. Penalty will be called. It's going to be a holding penalty. See who heads off.
Looks like John Beadle.
That was Beadle at first as well, but then, yes, it is Beadle. He kind of stopped on the way over.
Yeah, he did.
Thinking maybe they wouldn't notice. Ellison has to trot off as they'd sent 5 defenders out. Gillen and Tyson Rowe up top. Alan Keeley down low. Along with, just checking who the other low defender is.
That's Tony Joseph here.
Tony Joseph, yeah.
Well.
Another veteran defender for this English team. Powell up top. He's going to step in, shoots. Trying that bouncer, similar to his last shot. And he bounces it wide.
It should be backing over, yeah. No,
it is back over. David Leach sprinting into the corner to get that ball. CJ Costable there to cover him. Schaefer will take the pass. 8 seconds left on the penalty, so they'll have a minute and a half left on the penalty. But they lose it. Here comes Manny. Cole Schaefer sprinting back. Foster coming to help out. Nice hustle by Schaefer to go and help out, but now he's stuck out there on defense on the penalty kill, and we'll see if the U.S. goes after him. The small forward, not an ideal position to kill a penalty here. Powell thought about shooting. He's going to pass it over to the far side. They do come right after Schaefer, go down to that crease man, back up to Powell, behind the back. Holman can't handle it.
That was almost too good for his own team.
Yeah. There's a pass. The shot clock expires, though, before Walters can get the shot off.
Great pickup by Schaefer as well. Down
Yeah,
the floor
he does
early,
a
down to
decent
Jack
job.
Foster. Jack Foster just holding the ball by the halfway line.
Foster lobs it over. Nathan Clare has a cutter and Arthur back door, but Hotaling picked him up, took away the passing lane.
You'll see Nathan Clare as well just move on to the right side of the pitch now.
There he goes on to his correct side. William Walker is going to run over to his side of the floor with Brian McGill chasing him. Here comes the double with O'Doherty, but he's going to turn back the other way and just roll it into the corner with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Get the defenders out and try and kill the rest of this penalty. 28 seconds to go in the holding call against
great.
John Beadle.
It was great play by England there, just try and just eat up the clock. Give Beadle a little bit more time to get out of the box.
One of the important considerations for the offense holding the ball for as long as they can, that full 30, is to give the defenders, the penalty killers especially, a bit of a rest. Ratcliffe goes to his knees to secure that ball. Powell with a quick pass to Buchanan. Great save by Nick Rose, great awareness. Race between Holman and Rowe. Rowe kind of overruns it, and now England's short. It's 4-on-3, and Holman's just going to fire one. Rowe stops, and
Great
Holman
pickup by Tony Joseph.
Yes. Here comes Tyson Rowe. Scores! The big man. I'll tell you, he came into the NLL Combine last year, a bit of an unknown, a guy playing some senior lacrosse, but a huge guy, and he got out and played in the Combine scrimmage. And it was quite amazing the way he ran the floor, and now he has tied the game. It's England 3, USA 3.
I've got to say that Tyson Rose is a very awkward player to play against. We've seen him finish the ball all the way through this tournament, and it's 6'10". It's difficult for the goalkeepers to really understand where he's going to put the ball.
I'm 6'9", playing in an old guys league, and I have goalies telling me that all the time, that just because I'm so tall, plus because I'm not very accurate and don't really know where I'm shooting, they never know where it's going. But that height, it does make a difference because you can change the angles up so much when you're shooting from up there. There's a shot by Thule from straight over the top, but that one goes wide. Nick Rose is quickly on it. Well, not that quickly, but he's on it. Passes out to Manwaring. He's going to run the ball up the floor. Ellison stays with him. Now he heads to the bench. Manwaring cuts to the net. Nathan Clare to Sam Clare. That shot blocked by a defender. And Henhock is going to try and push the ball, but the English get their defenders out quickly. Penalty coming to England. Maybe it was too quickly.
No, Sam Clare just slashed him straight across the back there. Bit of a retaliation from the big hit of the USA.
It gets seen so often. There's a diving attempt. Michael Gillen getting into it with Casey Powell. We're 7:31 to go in the second quarter, so we should have the officials' timeout here, the media timeout. But just saying phrases like that, Michael Gillen getting into it with Casey Powell, has to be pretty cool for an English team. For a player like Michael Gillen, who has grown up, spending a lot of time watching guys like this. Casey Powell, an idol for pretty much anyone who's played lacrosse, and he gets to get up and jaw at him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the funny thing is with a player like Michael Gillen, I'd say that with almost any other English player, Michael Gillen really isn't faced by almost any player that he's up against, which is funny in terms of personality.
Great save by Nick Rose. Quick movement by the U.S., and they spring Joe Resetarits to the crease. Here comes Tyson Rowe. Does he have another one in him? He's got Tom Johnson with him. He does, the big man. Back-to-back goals. The second one shorthanded. England leads 4-3.
This is going to be really interesting to see how the USA respond to this. The USA really aren't used to going down to teams like England, so, hopefully, as you can tell by my accent, I'm hoping for a bit of an upset here.
Yes, we did mention that you're part of the English contingent. One of the players not playing today, but also part of the management team, correct?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am one of the managers as well. It's been a long road to get the team here.
Yes, I've talked in other games about the time, effort, and money that goes in to these teams as we take the media timeout. Goes into teams like England and Australia in particular getting to this type of tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a big commitment by all the players. It's a time commitment by the management, and it's difficult because you're bringing players from all over together for 2 weeks. But with our coaching staff, it's been fantastic. We've got a week that we can bring the team together, and then a week when we're playing the tournament as well. So it gives us time to gel and a time to execute.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Stephen Stamp with Joe Darkins, bringing you England 4, USA 3. Make sure you come back and see how this develops. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships, where England leads the USA 4-3. Yes, that's right. England leads the USA 4-3. The US will be trying to tie it up. And we were just saying, actually, during the break off air, that early in the game, the US kind of controlling play, dominating. Nick Rose keeps England in it. But now, if they were just wearing blank jerseys with numbers on, you wouldn't really know which is supposed to be the powerhouse team. It's been a pretty evenly played game for the last 10, 20 minutes of action. There's a shot by Powell, and Rose again comes to the fore.
That's a great save.
Just a nice little arm save, figuring out where Powell's shooting and just sticking the arm out there. Rose has had a great year and a half or so. Powell behind the back. Ratcliffe down low. Resetarits, another great save by Nick Rose. Those two familiar with each other from the summer. There's a shot by Casey Powell and scores. And you can't keep them off the score sheet forever, especially when you've got a legend like Casey Powell getting that much time and space to shoot.
Exactly. And the interesting thing about England going ahead there before is that England scored the goals to move ahead when they were actually man down as well.
Was it both goals shorthanded?
I think so, yeah.
That's true. I was thinking, I noticed the second one was, and yeah, Tyson Rowe with a pair of breakaway goals. He's out there on the defensive restraining line. And an easy draw win. Perfect timing by C.J. Costable. And the U.S. will head down the floor. And the penalty still counting up on the clock. They've had some trouble with that on the scoreboard. Marcus Holman dives across but loses the ball. Not sure the officials have noticed, but here comes Tyson Rowe. We've got a penalty coming to England. Too many men on the floor. Someone just jumping a little bit early off the bench.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether it was Tom Johnson there.
Yeah. Ooh. Well, that's a tough one, and you could hear the murmurs. There's a pretty good crowd in here, of course, with the U.S. playing. People starting to fill things up, and you could hear the murmurs as Rowe started running down the floor. People wondering if he could get his third goal. Powell up top, gets it back. There's a hard shot by Walters. Joe Walters, who's really come into his own this year, had a great season with Rochester, and just rips that one home. That's a hard shot.
That's a hard shot. I mean, you can tell how accurate it was as well. Rose didn't really move. So, yeah, just a great finish by Walters.
Of course, Casey Powell, I mean, making it look pretty easy as he makes that pass across, but it's perfect timing too. I mean, it's little things like just seeing the English defender coming over to him with his weight on that right foot shifting over, so Powell gets it over to Walters, knowing that by the time the defender shifts his weight back, Walters can release that quick rocket.
Absolutely.
Joe Resiteritz tosses it up to Thule. Back-to-back power play goals. And that's not the first time someone's bounced off of Garrett Thule, as Sam Clare.
He's an imposing figure.
He is. Again, went to West Point, the U.S. Military Academy. Here comes Ellison running the ball up the floor. He's got Nathan Clare ahead of him. Clare gets it. Thule coming after him. Spins off. Hits Ellison. Shoots. Scores.
Oh.
Lovely play. The give and go, Ellison and Clare. Ellison with a great goal. Now maybe he can get a shiny helmet like the rest of the team.
Absolutely. This is actually Ellison's first international game as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh
and
my!
I would say that you can count the number of box cross games that Andy Ellison's actually played in almost on one hand.
I hope that somebody grabbed that ball for him. That is quite a souvenir for a young man making his international box lacrosse debut.
Andy Ellison, interestingly enough, is actually a veteran member of the England field team. And here he is again, picking up the ball.
Yeah, he's going to go grab it after that shot went up into the mesh. So 3 straight transition goals by England. 2 by Tyson Rowe, 1 by Andy Ellison with the assist to Nathan Clare. And Cole Schaefer trying to use a pick off the crossbar. That was almost back in. Boy, the confidence this England team is showing now is brilliant to see. Sam Clare's going to go after that ball out of the corner. Lots of time on the shot clock. They've got 20 still to get one off. A little shake and bake from Clare. Spins back. Nice job by McGill to adjust with him. The athleticism of some of these American defenders. Very noticeable. Cole Schaefer's going to go and protect that ball in case an American comes to pick it up and tries for the quick start. Now he's just going to stay and play defense. We talked earlier about him getting stuck out on D. He looks like he's quite comfortable staying out there and playing defense.
Yeah, I think you'll see Cole Schaefer. You'll see some of the more experienced box cross players playing both sides of the floor simply because they know how important the game is for England.
Casey Powell, almost with his hat trick, just banged one off the post. U.S. gets the ball back, and Thule puts his shoulder into Cole Schaefer. And that is the downside of having Cole Schaefer on the defensive end. He can't stop Garrett Thule on that play.
I'd like to see a person who could.
Yeah, good point. There's Joe Resiteritz with the shot. That's an excellent response. Here comes Tyson Rowe, his third breakaway. Oh, he can't beat Jake Henhock this time, and he steps in the crease, so he can't pick the ball up. And you get the feeling Jake Henhock was going to do whatever it took to stop that ball and not let Rowe beat him a third time. Rowe taking his frustration at not scoring out on Jeff Ratcliffe, the big forward for the U.S. A little shimmy-shammy move by Walters, tries to get it through to Buchanan, and there is a holding penalty coming. I think Buchanan just talked the ref into a holding call.
I also think that Alan Keeley definitely had his hand on the jersey, unfortunately.
Oh, yes. I'm not saying he wasn't holding him. I'm just saying he didn't see the hand going up in the first place. But
absolutely.
So 5-5, 3:38 to go here in the first half.
Rosie just pushing one of the American players there as well.
Ratcliffe down in the corner.
Absolutely, yeah. Just stepping right into Rosie's face. So
Casey Powell to Reza and back. See if the U.S. can get another power play goal. Reza the stop by Rose with the arm. And some of these saves may look lucky by Nick Rose, but he has become very good. There's a shot by Powell, and that one's a clear save. Ratcliffe on the crease. Gets banged pretty hard there.
Great power by Tony Joseph to keep that guy out.
Pass down low. Walters with the shot. Goes into the backside of the mesh. Rose gets on it.
Ratcliffe is actually completely open on the back post there. Oh, Rose just throws it away. Dillon can't quite get there. England have got guys back in order to protect the goal, hopefully.
Buchanan to Walters. Powell has it. There's a sub shot by Reza Rose this time makes the sharp pass. Manwaring running. Johnson ahead of him, gets the pass, shoots, scores! 6-5 England. A third shorthanded goal for... That's unbelievable.
That's absolutely unbelievable. Johnson with the early shot as well. Some players want to get right in top of the goalkeeper before they shoot. But you see Tom Johnson there just shooting from about 4 yards away outside the line, just the early one as the keeper was slightly flat-footed there for a second.
Actually, the first Tyson Rowe goal not listed as shorthanded. It was, I think, just before the penalty. Yeah, the penalty actually came a little bit later, so it was so two shorthanded goals. Still pretty remarkable, and a power play goal by Nathan Clare. The U.S. with 3 power play goals. So England almost even on the American power plays. Not that I recommend they continue taking penalties.
No. It wasn't part of the game plan.
No. Powell up top. Walters is going to let it fly. That one's wide. It'll be an over and back if it doesn't head out to the bench first. It's going to be an English ball. Joel White gets there to protect the breakaway. And there's Tyson Rowe up to start the rush. He'll just pass it off, though, and Clare will get the offense rolling. Nathan Clare trying to create some room for his brother. Bounce pass across to the far side to Schaefer. 26 seconds left in the penalty, 16 on the shot clock. Schaefer gets a pick, kind of directing traffic there. Gets Lisa, a backdoor cut, Clare scores! Another shorthanded goal. It is 7-5 for England, and you're kind of excited.
I'd like to say that my voice is hiding my excitement at the moment.
It is, but everyone can't see you clenching your fists and grinning the way that I can. But I don't blame you at all. I think you're doing a great job of doing a nice, even, balanced call here. But how could you not be excited as an English player to see your team up 7-5 on the United States? 3 shorthanded goals. Still 16 seconds left in the penalty.
Well, I think the United States their coaching staff must go absolutely mental at them, simply because, as man up, you should always have somebody covering. But, the Clare obviously was able to get a step on his man when he really shouldn't have done. England 7-5.
You just wanted to say that again.
Absolutely.
England 7-5 up, and now even 5-on-5 lacrosse. Pass across to Powell. He's going to step across to the top. Watched by Beadle. He'll just bounce it over to the far side. Thule gives it back to Powell. 3 to shoot. Powell does so. Scooped up by Rose, but loses it. Manwaring there to grab the ball. Toss it ahead. Try that wasn't Manwaring, it was Tony Joseph. Now Manwaring has received the pass.
But just under 20 seconds in the shot clock.
Ooh. Shot by Schaefer right into the belly pad. And here's a breakout, Joe Smith. Ellison sprinting after him. No hands up from the ref, so it wasn't early. Rose out of position. Great job. Oh, and then he loses position, but great job initially by Jack Foster to take away the angle as Reza was trying to get to that ball before Rose could get back in the net.
Absolutely. England a little bit lucky there.
There's a shot scooped up by Rose with the stick. Walters, we've seen how hard he can shoot. Timeout for England. 35.2 seconds on the game clock. 27 seconds on the shot clock, which means an 8-second differential. We'll see. I doubt they're going to pull Nick Rose here. but you never know how. I don't see Mike Hazen as that daring of a coach.
No, I think with 2 goals up, I think Mike Hazen definitely wants to make sure that we just keep the lead that England currently has. I mean, England really is showing some great cohesion throughout the entire team here. I mean, it's a massive credit to the coaching staff who've really pulled the team together.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing, of course, a terrible loss for all of lacrosse last year with Chris Hall dying from cancer. Very sad for everyone. The Vancouver Stealth, big loss, the Victoria Shamrocks. But then you come into this year and you realize the loss for England as well, because he's been done so much to build the game over there.
If you see on all the England jerseys, they all have CH written on them at the moment. He was a huge impact on the team, but also on many of the individuals, myself included. He was our manager in 2007 and 2011, so, and a larger-than-life character who, you know, is unbelievably missed.
Yeah. Great for English lacrosse that they had Chris Hall involved for so long, and now Mike Hazen stepping up to take that mantle on and bringing along Paddy O'Toole and Chris Driscoll with him. That's really 3 defensive coaches that have come over from Canada. One, of course, Hall of Fame goalie Paddy O'Toole. That ball knocked loose. Schaefer hesitates for a moment, does recover. Here comes Marcus Holman, but a nice job
20
by
seconds
Claire
on
to
the
get
clock.
back there. Yeah, 20 to shoot. U.S. will take a timeout, and they will pull goalie Jake Henhock to get an extra attacker out with 17.5 to go now. Henhock, not really a fan of having to run if he doesn't have to, so he will make the nice leisurely stroll over as time is taken.
Very well put. I think that was a really unforced error there by England on the halfway line, but you know, they should have been a lot more tighter, really, especially with the 7-5 lead and so close to halftime. You saw England punished right before halftime as well against Czech Republic when they got a goal in the final seconds to even up the game.
Yeah. And just a little, I mean, no pressure really. When that pass was made, it's just thrown over the top of Cole Schaefer, and Schaefer coming forward. It's so hard to adjust your course and get back in time. You just couldn't get to the ball quickly enough. Absolutely.
And, you know, America really responding quickly on the back of it as well.
Yeah.
You really can't take your eyes off America because they will punish you immediately.
Walters, Thule, and Buchanan, the 3 lefties for the U.S. Powell, Holman, and Ratcliffe, the 3 righties. I'm a little surprised actually not to see Joe Resetarits out there. They've obviously been working some sets with these guys, but to me, Resetarits, one of their really key offensive contributors. Nice shot from the corner there to see Ratcliffe set up in the corner. 15 seconds. They'll wait till there's about 8 or 9 left and then start to attack. Here we go, 11. They start to move in. Walters cuts through. Thule gives it to Buchanan. Walters is circled all the way around out to Thule. He'll let it fly and scores. 2.8 seconds to go. You couldn't draw it up much better than that for the U.S. And Thule finishes with an exclamation point.
That was quite a shot. Quite a shot from outside. It just goes to show you that in games like this, what a small error can really do in terms of costing you. I mean, you know, England really should have only had 2.8 seconds of defence there if they would have caught the ball in the halfway line.
Yeah, I mean, they could have eaten up most of the time, got a shot late, and not had to worry too much. Reynolds wins the face-off. They're going to try and get another chance. Reynolds is rocked as he heads down after the face-off. He and Gillen bump. Joe Walters cross-checks Gillen in the back, having some words for him, so Gillen goes to talk to him. As you said, not backing away from anyone. Tyson Rowe with words for Walters. Seems like a fairly calm discussion at this point, but we know how these can escalate. And the most physical play of the entire thing is the referee shoving Mike Gillen out of the way.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's
some people, several Americans going to talk to Gillen.
Absolutely. Tyson Rowe definitely talking down to Walters there, from a height perspective, of course.
Yes. And the referee telling Tony, having a chat with Tony Resch, the American coach. And we're going to go to break for halftime. It is 7 for England, 6 for the United States. You can say that again too if you like.
England 7, United States 6.
We will take a break and see what happens in the second half from the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. I'm Stephen Stamp with Joe Darkins. Make sure you come back and join us. from. Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back to the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. I'm Steven Stamp, joined now by Chuck Jaffe. Great to have you back on the booth. It was fun having Joe Darkins here. He was certainly very excited about what was going on in his British team, getting a lead on the Americans. They're still up 7-6. How long it will last is anyone's guess, but you're just pointing out stranger things have happened.
Well, yeah, and the biggest thing that you have, the biggest deficiency for the United States is goaltending. The biggest advantage for the Brits is goaltending.
Yep.
And anything can happen when you have a fabulous goaltender against a good goaltender. I'm not saying that Jake Henhock's not a good goaltender, but he's not Nick Rose.
No, at this level of the game, he is a little outmatched.
And Nick is so big.
Yeah.
It is so tough to do it. I can say that at one point in my life, I had a pair of Nick Rose's pads, and I'm a big man, and they were big on me.
Ryan Hotaling comes away with the ball. Jeff Reynolds was taking that faceoff, and he was complaining he was being held on the faceoff. But the U.S. takes possession, trailing 7-6 here in the third quarter. Buchanan sliding off the wing over to the middle. Gets the ball to Powell, who moves it across. Quick movement by the U.S. There's Thule catching and scoring. What a goal. Tyson Rowe on Thule. Thule just shakes him off, makes the catch, and dunks it in midair.
Great cross-crease feed there. And this is what you wind up seeing, how the offense changes when you get Casey Powell in the lineup. They wind up moving the ball better, and this was straight across. I mean, that ball traveled through the crease before Thule could catch it. It was so down low. Great move, finish, and now we're even.
I mean, I talked about Casey Powell coming back before the game. Early in the game, he scored on a sweep shot in the first couple of minutes, the opening goal of the game. It was 2:05 into the contest, and he hasn't stopped having an impact since. It is 7-7. Garrett Thule takes the ball.
Well, let's not forget, Casey Powell was the most valuable player of the last World Indoor Lacrosse Championships.
That's an excellent point. On the All-Star team, Garrett Thule gives it down to Joe Walters. There's a crease pass, and a goal by Marcus Holman, and it looked like the first cutter going through was going to take the ball, and he just let it go, and Holman buries it.
Got Nick Rose moving his feet as he came from his left to his right. Shot it back over. Rose got a piece, but not a big enough piece.
8-7. We said how long the lead would last was anyone's guess. It turns out to be 64 seconds.
Well, 64 seconds into the second half. They had a lead for a lot longer than that.
That's true.
But the other side is, this doesn't actually look like the same U.S. team. I wasn't sitting at this position, but I don't think it's my chair that changes. I think it's whatever Tony said at halftime, Tony Resch said at halftime, in terms of, guys, we want to move the ball. We want to take advantage of letting the ball do the work and the superior stick skills.
I wouldn't be surprised if Casey Powell had a couple of words in that room as well. He doesn't necessarily say a lot in the dressing room, but when he speaks, certainly people listen. That ball bounces out of play. England will come back up the floor and try and regain a tie. Sam Clare's going to start with the ball. I did tell Joe Darkins before he left that he may be their lucky charm, and him leaving to watch with his buddies may not do them any favors.
So we may see Joe coming up to push
Joe
me
may
out of the
come
chair
up and bump you out now.
at some point in a minute or two. And
Claire
I'll
trying to
take
fight
my
his
chances.
way through. You are significantly bigger than Joe, so I think you might be able to hold your own there. The U.S. pushing the ball up the floor. 3 British defenders come out to meet them. Powell sets a bit of a pick. Joe Walters well off on the offside of the floor and high. Just letting things settle down a bit. They've got 17 on the shot clock. 5th attacker, Kevin Buchanan, just coming out now. Goes to Powell. Powell looking like he means business. Across to Walters. There's the cutter. Ratcliffe can't catch it. It comes out to Thule. Nice timing by Gillen to knock it away. Healy's going to jump on the ball, but the shot clock was expiring anyway. Forecheck pressure. Healy gets away from it nicely, but then throws the ball away. A little tap to the stick by Kevin Buchanan, enough to cause the turnover.
Greg Downing, local product out of Auburn, New York, now lives in Colorado, but he's home and has lots of family all over the games.
Joe Resiteritz on the far side, not far away for him either, as he's a Hamburg native. Gillen gets the stick up into Restiteris' face. That shot by Buchanan just wide on the far side. Bounced it off the boards. Snagged there. But then toppling is Tony Joseph. Joseph looking for someone to give the ball to. Smartly doesn't give it to the first man, but goes to Leach. But he is bumped, and it's knocked away from him. The ball knocked loose again. Joseph goes after it, but nice job by Reynolds to come up with it and then slips on the wet part of the floor. The shot and the goal. C.J. Costable in transition, and it's 9-7 United States.
You know, that's one of those shots where you probably had Tony Resch and the guys on the bench going, no, yes, okay, because he didn't have much of an advantage. He didn't have the goalie's feet moving a whole lot. This is probably one of those ones where Nick Rose will look back at the film and go, that one I kind of feel bad about.
Yeah. Costabile puts it in. And Sam Clare will head to the face-off dot, face-off against Jeff Reynolds. The U.S. really rotating through their three face-off guys, Jeff Reynolds, C.J. Costabile, and Ryan Hotaling. Buchanan goes to the net, shoots. That one squeaks through but rolls diagonally or horizontally across the crease, the goal line.
But earns them a fresh 30-second shot clock.
It does get them a fresh 30. Almost, though, dangerous. Coming around the crease, all the way around. Casey Powell switching hands. Now he goes hard for the forecheck. Great effort by Powell, but it will be picked up by Rowe. Rowe's going to swim through a couple of players and just rolls it out. A smart play to get it up the floor to Manwaring. He's on his offside, just going to slow things down, makes the pass into traffic, but Nathan Clare catches it. There's a nice shot, diving to the crease. Can't quite finish it, though. Jake Henhock with the save. The U.S. comes back up the other way.
And the U.S. just clearly putting more pressure on. They have been at their best when they play an aggressive pressure defense. Use their fitness advantage, which they have pretty much on every team in this tournament.
Yeah, and it's starting with the forwards getting the pressure on when the ball's turned over. Again, right there, you see Garrett Thule going after the man, but it's going to be picked up by Gillen. Gillen, who has been a little hobbled, has Ellison with him. Drops the ball, so Joe Walters gets on him. Ellison, a great story, making his first ever box lacrosse game today and scores a goal against the United States. We have a penalty coming. Too many men on England, and it's kind of hard to argue since they still had 6 runners out there after the call was made.
A call so obvious? Even we could make it.
Yes. It's a natural reaction when the call is made and you didn't see someone coming early off the bench, just count around. And there was a British player running back. He wasn't even past mid-floor. And there were 5 others up in the offensive zone. So not too hard a decision. Not certainly a controversial one like the one last night that Ian Garrison, part of this crew, had to make. Correct call, by the way, last night, as the Iroquois did have 6 runners on the floor.
Yes, they did. In the Iroquois Canada game, it was at a pivotal point in the game. We didn't actually know in the booth what they had called and why. And then we're watching a replay to try to get an idea of it, and we quickly recognized there were 6 guys on the floor.
Well, there were 6 guys in the celebration huddle. There's a shot by Casey Powell. That's a pretty dead giveaway. There's 6 guys celebrating the goal. Manwaring running the ball up the floor. Thought about making the pass, but didn't really have an open lane. The U.S. get their defenders out and start to get some pressure on. Nathan Clare, we'll see how much time he can kill. Leach gives Schaefer a tap to let him know he's there. Then they kind of close up. Now they spread out a little bit. Schaefer scores! Cole Schaefer with 3 seconds left on the shot clock. That was the only reason he takes that shot.
Look what I found. That was a shot that he wasn't actually thinking it was going in. He was thinking it was going to be swallowed up by Henhock, and instead put it over his shoulder.
Cole Schaefer had a very strong Minto Cup, at least some strong games in the Minto Cup. The Six Nations Arrows defense really took away a lot of the offensive potential of that Coquitlam Adirondacks team. But Schaefer was very solid, and he has been outstanding for England, playing all over the floor. We're going to have a penalty coming.
England's 8th goal, scored by number 41, Cole Schaefer. Assist number 17, Nathan Clare.
It's going to be the U.S. taking a penalty.
Well, at this point, I'm starting to think in this game that it makes sense for the U.S. to actually commit penalties anytime England does, just to keep England from playing shorthanded, because England has, 5 of its 8 goals now shorthanded, because that goal by Schaefer was shorthanded.
Yeah, 4 shorthanded goals. The other one by Rowe, not showing up as shorthanded, his first goal. We were discussing that. We both thought it was shorthanded, but I think it did come in even strength. Certainly not on the score sheet as shorthanded, but 4 shorthanded goals. The England is pretty much even with the States when the States are on the power play. Moving pick. And Joel White a little slow to get up. U.S. taking their time, walking the ball up the floor. It's going to slow things down as it is 4-on-4 now. Casey Powell will throw it across to Walters. Another 34 seconds of 4-on-4 play. Buchanan up past the restraining line. Steps in. Takes a shot. Easy save for Rose on that one.
But that was a set play. The idea there was Bucky took the shot with Resetarits crashing.
Yeah.
And the hope was that you
Then it
get
bounces
the
out.
rebound, and you almost had it work. It was just that Nick Rose was able to corral the rebound.
Yeah, it just dropped down in front of him, and Rose had to be alert to scoop up the ball before it did bounce out, because it would have bounced out to Resetarits, as you said. Walters over to Powell. 13 on the shot clock. They're now shorthanded as England's got their fifth player out there. 4 to shoot. The cutter can't quite catch it was Jeff Ratcliffe. England putting the ball up the floor. Garrett Thule with the illegal body check call. That's why he's in there for another 40 seconds or less. Clare moves it over to Schaefer. England on the power play with a chance to tie the game. Tom Johnson. Schaefer starts to go down. Whip it back. Just a second to shoot. England just a little too much passing around, and Sam Clare really wanted to get that ball back so he can let that one fly.
And we've come to immediate timeout with under 8 minutes remaining. We've got 17 seconds left on the man advantage, but it looks like the U.S. will kill this one off, leading 9-8.
We'll take a break. We'll be right back on Stephen Stamp with Chuck Jaffe at the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships, and it will no longer be a power play when we come back, as Clare has just taken a penalty during the stoppage. We'll be right back with the rest of the third quarter. Hello, lacrosse friends. Welcome back. 7:21 to go in the third period. I'm Stephen Stamp with Chuck Jaffe at the Onondaga Nation Arena, a beautiful facility here in upstate New York for the 2015 World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. It is 9-8 for the United States. 17 seconds left on the penalty to Garrett Thule. The penalty hasn't got up on the board for the Brits yet, but we did see Ian Garrison signaling to Nathan Clare to go into the box.
Right. And we're waiting to see what that's going to be for. Though right now there are 5 on the floor for the English team.
One of them is Chris Manwaring, who is the alternate captain, who's over talking to the officials. So I get the feeling he's just out there to continue arguing throughout the media timeout. That's going to be... Now, reading the referee's lips, it sounded like he said unsportsmanlike conduct, but he signaled delay of game.
Well,
let's see what Rod Mahood has to say. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, he did signal unsportsmanlike conduct. He was arms out, not arms folded. So
Arms folded, one on top of the other is too many men. Illegal substitution.
It's also, but you said delay of game. That's also the delay of game signal, isn't it? In box?
No, I'm pretty sure delay of game is hands out, extended, arms out, extended to the side. Anyway, usually unsportsmanlike conduct is a T with the hands, one hand on top of the other. So very strange anyway. And all of a sudden, the U.S. is on the power play. And Casey Powell's shot bounces high, goes off the leg of defender Beadle. Bit of a break for the U.S. as that may have swung all the way back down. Shot clock expires. Casey Powell puts the ball down. And play blown back in. The buzzer sounds. Going to see if the scorekeeper's trying to get in touch with the referees.
No, they're just saying play on, inadvertent.
Okay.
Yeah, part of that confusion on signaling comes from so many different types of lacrosse, and none of these refs do exclusively box lacrosse.
Right. Schaefer killing some time. Still a minute 8 to go on that.
Anyone who officiates knows that there are those times where you're doing something, and in the heat of whatever, you make the signal and go, oh, that was the other game that I work.
Yeah.
Nice.
Shot clock expiring. Schaefer gets a shot off, tries to create a second chance, but he's the only one out there. 51 seconds left in the unsportsmanlike delay of game penalty. Joe Walters will throw it down to Garrett Thule. Once Thule looks, nope, he's going to go up top. Casey Powell, who will throw it to Thule instead. Kevin Buchanan was almost disappearing in there behind Tyson Rowe as he was in the middle of the floor. Ball picked up by Manware. He drops it, but Gillen there to grab it. Gillen noticeably laboring as he runs around. Has a bit of an ankle tweak. Throws the ball ahead, though. Gets it up to Manwaring. Smartly pulls it back. Neither of the options he had to pass it to were really open. 15 left on the penalty. 9-8 the score for the U.S. Nice run by Manwaring. He gets a little bit of help by a pick. 4 seconds to shoot. Swings around. He's just going to roll it not into the corner because it wasn't quite hard enough to get all the way down there. And here comes the U.S. pushing the pace a little bit. Joe Rezaterets takes the ball from McGill. Casey Powell is trotting right down the middle of the slot. Now he'll head down to the corner and accept the pass.
Introducing himself to English players as he goes.
Passing it to Rezaterets. What a foot save by Nick Rose. He has been tremendous for the English. And he makes another great save. Powell over to Buchanan, who bobbles the pass but picks it up. Back to 5-on-5 lacrosse. Oh, Walters just goes around Downing, but again the save by Rose up into the mesh. That quick first step by Joe Walters exploding past the defender. Thule down to Walters. And they've switched it up. Have Beadle down on Walters now. Here comes Buchanan. Walters is going to let it fly off the crossbar. And that one fires up off the ceiling of this facility.
And a crossbar is the same as hitting the goalie in terms of if the ball goes up to the ceiling or out to the netting behind the net, it's going to wind up being
moving pick by the U.S.
ball. So in this case, defense is getting the ball because of a moving pick.
Didn't last long. That possession by the U.S. Sam Clare has the ball. Joe Smith chasing him. Joel White comes to help, and the pass goes back to Johnson. Johnson, a dangerous pass, but just gets away. The U.S. almost sent the other way. Joel White is very good in transition and could have made that quite dangerous. Walker loses it, and Greg Downing will grab the ball and start sprinting up the floor. He's got Ratcliffe coming with him, and Buchanan trotting along on the other side, but he'll just hand it off to Casey Powell. They'll set up the offense. Buchanan wants the ball. He gets it. He's going to let it fly way high over the net, bounces off the glass and down into the back side of the mesh. And Michael Gillen, a rather dangerous move, trying to run through two U.S. forecheckers right in front of his crease. Does make the pass, though.
Well, that shot from Buchanan, I think most people would like to see Buchanan taking more outside shots, but they kind of want to see him do the catch and shoot thing as opposed to let me take 3 steps in and walk further. And he is best when it's a time and rhythm, hands-free, kind of like the shot you just saw to Garrett Thule.
That's a great point. Oh, and the ball bobbled by Downing. Cost him a chance to break out. The U.S. gets it back. Just over 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. The U.S. up by 1. Casey Powell rolls to the middle. Nice behind the back pass. Well caught by Holman. They're moving the ball well. Thule stopped by Rose. Another hand save. Shakes the glove to get it back in position. Nick Rose is ready for the next onslaught, starting with Casey Powell's stick. There's a shot by Walters, a hard one, but off the backboards. Manwaring takes his time, no hurry, and he just tosses it ahead. Johnson will take the ball. A hard pass across, low to Cole Schaefer. He bends down to get it. There's a cutter close to the net. The shot, Jake Henhock there. And Leach just hit him right in the USA crest on his shirt.
But if you're the U.S., you got to be unhappy with that. If you're the U.S. coaches, that's got to make you crazy.
The man open, cutting back door, absolutely. No way he should be left unattended to sprint all the way, basically from the English bench at the other end of the floor into an open spot. Pass across to Thule. Little swim move. Puts his shoulder into Rowe. Oh, what a quick stick by Jeff Ratcliffe on the crease. Takes the pass from behind the net and just dunks it home, bouncing it under Nick Rose and up into the mesh.
You know, Jeff Ratcliffe is a power forward. He is absolutely an inside player, just a beast around the net. There's not a lot of finesse to that game at all, but inside, that is a very unique skill set, and he just employed it to his benefit and the U.S. benefit right there.
Yeah, we talked earlier, I mentioned earlier about Jeff Ratcliffe going out, setting picks for Casey Powell and the others, trying to get a space open for guys. But he is very effective, like you said, when he can just post up. And nobody really covering him as there's a lot of attention being paid to the players down behind the net. Resetarits takes us 10-8 with 1:40 to go here in the third quarter. Give England credit, they're hanging tough, working hard and staying in this ball game. Joe Walters misses on the far side. Resetarits backpedals to get it. 3 to shoot, so he'll let it fire. That's wide, and the shot clock will expire.
But the danger for England here is that they have spent most of this period on defense.
Yes.
And they're exhausted. It's starting to show.
And that's what Joe Darkins was saying in the first half, that he thinks the U.S. is, he was talking about the U.S.'s fitness. Now they're probably the fittest team in this tournament. That ball goes back over center. You said the same thing. Here comes Costable. A strange change by the British, as there was a player right there, and he just left to go to the bench when he could have stood over that ball and at least challenged.
Or he could have gotten off. The problem was he was indecisive. And for those who wonder why that whistle blew, as you're learning box lacrosse rules, Costabile took the shot, ran through the crease. He's allowed to run through the crease. He's just not allowed to be the next guy to play the ball.
In the MSL, they don't even let you these days stand over the ball and shield it from another player on the other team while one of your teammates goes. Technically, it's not supposed to be blown down, but a lot of the refs will do that if you're guarding the ball. Gillen on that bad wheel can't catch up, and Joel White is sprung for a shot, but it goes off the arm of Nick Rose, and England comes back the other way. Sam Clare sprinting, surrounded by 4 white jerseys, so he's going to slow it down. Arthur is there with him. Gets checked by Jeff Reynolds. Cole Schaefer thinks about the pass. Now he makes it. Manwaring coming up all the way to the restraining line. Big
that needs
pick.
To be called. That needs
and it
to
is
be
a moving
called,
pick. And
needs...
McGill is down. He is looking like he's in quite a bit of pain. We'll take a timeout for the officials. We'll see how McGill is. He hops up, starts to make his way to the bench. Certainly a tough customer, Brian McGill, but boy, you can be as tough as you want. Your knees are still vulnerable.
Oh, that was literally, of course, you had the British player much smaller than McGill, pretty much sort of tried to stick his butt out in the way of McGill and caught at just the wrong angle with the knee.
McGill actually making his way onto the bench. I assumed he would head out the other door and down to the dressing room to get dealt with. He is sitting on the back of the bench and not standing up with his teammates, but he is on the bench itself. So McGill, it would appear, feels that he can continue, maybe take a shift or two off.
The real question will be if it's in his best interest and the team's best interest.
Powell passes over, just a couple seconds to go. Rose with the save, looks behind him. 2 seconds in the quarter, and that will do it while they dig the ball out of Nick Rose's equipment. And after 3 quarters to play, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll see how England can do responding as U.S. is really taking control. Although I'll tell you, if you told the English team and coaches they would be down 10-8 after 45 minutes of play to the U.S., they would take that in a heartbeat.
They would have signed up, paid their money, and been happy with it.
I'm Steven Stamp with Chuck Jaffe. We'll be back to the WILC right after this. Welcome back, lacrosse friends, to the Onondaga Nation Arena. I'm Stephen Stamp with Chuck Jaffe, and it is 10-8 for the U.S. They have the ball off the opening faceoff. A big hit by Beadle, but a nice job by Costable to hold on to that ball. Takes a bit of a rough ride into the boards, but the U.S. sets up on offense. Walters will take it. They're just getting all their offensive guys out now. England packing it in, but not enough as Kevin Buchanan takes the pass right on the crease. 5 English defenders within the dotted line, but none of them take away Kevin Buchanan. It's 11-8.
Nice little twister from Kevin. Of course, he's a lefty running a cut that's normally a right-handed cut, but running mostly to get into position and also see what if he can clear out the middle. Winds up being open for it. Takes it, does a little twister, makes it a 3-goal lead. And you know, the other thing that we talked about as we head into the fourth quarter, now in the fourth quarter, you've got your offensive benches in your offensive zone. That makes it that much tougher for the defense. The reason that we talked about that tired defense is that what it sets up here is now you've got a tired English defense with the long run.
Yeah, and that long change can be a killer when you're already a little knackered. Joe Garkin's saying the same thing, that he was worried about how England would hold up in the third and fourth period. We'll see. There's a shot that Rose gets just enough of. Michael Gillen running the floor. Rose thought about passing it up to him. Instead, throws it over to Manwaring. Manwaring will run it up the floor, watched by Greg Downing. Pass across to Clare. He's hit by Brian McGill, who's obviously doing okay. And
I was going to say, McGill's knee not really showing any real signs of problem now.
Moving pick. And now we have another U.S. player hobbling, but here comes O'Doherty down the floor, one-on-one on Downing. He's just going to toss it over to Powell. Powell fakes the pass back, and O'Doherty says, "Don't give me the ball again. I'm heading to the bench." Powell comes around. Behind the net. Is he thinking dunk? No. Tyson Rowe shadowing him. Not yet. Now he is. And he's in the crease as the ball is stopped by Rose, and he lands down on the turf. The ball did wind up in the net eventually.
Yeah, Nick knows that Casey has that in the arsenal.
Yes.
That doesn't make it a whole lot easier to guard against, but...
Nathan Clare with a pretty good hold there as he was trying to set a pick on Brett Manny. That one goes right off the bucket, and breaking down the other way all alone is Joel White. He's dangerous here, and he scores. Joel White became one of the top transition players in the National Lacrosse League over the last couple of years. Traded from New England to Minnesota this year. He'll, of course, be in Georgia next year, and he is always a threat when he starts heading up the floor.
Absolutely. He got one the other day, and the same sort of thing happened here. I took a look over to where his family is. He's a Syracuse product.
Right.
And you could sort of see as he got it, they were all standing up and ready to go, and Joel White did not disappoint.
Facing off, Beadle up there for England this time, giving Mike Gillen a bit of a rest. U.S. comes up with it.
Scored by number 11.
Reynolds loses the ball as he goes to pass it out, but Hotelling there to scoop it up.
The bigger side is
Throws
that Reynolds had possession, so the clock had already started. So as they're just getting to the bench now, 10 seconds are gone.
Yeah, they just made it over the 10-second line, just under 10 seconds.
Nice save by Nick Rose there. Holman had him leaning to his right, and he stuck out the left paw at the last second.
We've seen Rose do that at least 3 or 4 times in this game alone, where he's leaning one way but can reach down with that arm. He's so good at maintaining his balance. He can be going one way and not get too overcommitted. Crease call, a jumping attempt by the captain, Kevin Buchanan, but that pass was a little bit high for him. Tyson Rowe would have had no problem with it. Running along the center line, Joseph will just pass it off. Now Johnson throws to the far side. A little stick on stick made it tough to get through. McGill out high. Nice to see him showing no ill effects from apparently twisting his knee earlier. Cole Schaefer runs around the pick. McGill just grabs the picker. And it's picked off, and that's going to be a moving pick by the States. And this is something I've talked about earlier, that we have seen a lot of this call during this tournament. Ball turned over, and the team that's just gone on to offense in their defensive zone getting called for the moving pick when they try and spring their guy up the floor. John Arthur stepping back, looking for a cutter. Now he's just going to run down himself and hand it off to the man in the corner. Goes out to Nathan Clare. Schaefer gets a pick. McGill out on him. Again, a big size differential, but Schaefer gets by and gets a shot off. Hendhock stops that, and Joel White looking to get it to the man off the bench. Casey Powell hits the referee. Penalty coming, too many men. And Casey Powell is complaining to the ref that he needs to get out of the way. And instead of apologizing, he calls them for too many men on the floor. Casey Powell just shakes his head. Honestly, it's very difficult for us to see from our position. This is a great vantage point, but we've got the penalty boxes and the scores and things boxes down here. It's a little hard to see through the benches.
Exactly. Right in front of us. The area right closest to us is very tough, so we will not be great at identifying too many men calls if they're close.
Yes. When there's 6 guys out on the floor, we're gold. Sam Clare over to Schaefer. He's going to let it fly. No, he passes it across, and Nathan Clare airmails his shot and can't believe it. He wants the ball back. He gets it, but just bobbles it. 8 seconds to shoot as he passes across. Quick stick. The save by Jake Henhock, who can look casual to the point of nonchalance at times when making saves.
Absolutely. Well, let's try to put it a different way. Jake Henhock clearly believes in an economy of motion. And it works for him.
It does. I mean, he's not a guy who moves around a lot. Casey Powell with the ball short-handed. 10 seconds to go as Walters takes it. Thule is over there. He's going to come and set a pick. No need as Walters slides down low. There's a shot by Thule. Stopped. And Thule heads back trying to chase down Gillen. Gillen sees him, protects the ball well, pulls it back. Shoots the save by Henhock. Nice play by Gillen to protect the ball against the beast Garrett Thule. And McGill absolutely flattens Gillen. Gillen wants a call because the ball was loose. He's saying that's a loose ball foul. He's got a pretty good argument there.
He does, but ironically, they're much more willing to call ticky-tack fouls coming out of the box. And maybe they're not ticky-tack since we have just acknowledged we don't see the sub line.
There's a pass across behind the back by Powell. Buchanan with the dive shot. Tries the diving wrap. Can't quite accomplish it. England will come back the other way. 12-8 for the U.S. England on the power play after the too many men call. Tyson Rowe is going to give the ball up to Sam Clare. England taking a while to get their offensive personnel out there. Takes them 12, 13 seconds before they're into the offensive set. Up to Schaefer. Staying perimeter for now. Shot by Clare. Bounced off the post right back to him. Now they've got all the time they can use. Manwaring. Across the top to Sam Clare. Not a quick stick, but a shot by the British. And coming out of the box, it was terrible. Yeah. Bad timing for a shot by the English as their man just came out of the box and was open for a breakaway, but we have a check in the back. And the U.S. will go to the power play now, leading 10-8 with 12-8 with 9:36 to go. I'm Steven Stamp with Chuck Jaffe.
That was more of an accidental sort of push. I'm a little surprised it got called. They kind of got caught up.
Yeah.
I think it was almost one of those things where the defensive player kind of had his hand there, and as the offensive player lost his balance, you kind of have your hand touching, you extend your arm, it looks like you pushed.
Yeah.
I think he went down as much as anything on his own. It sort of looked to me like the turf monster got him.
Powell gets the ball back, moves it down. Tries to get it through to Buchanan in the middle. Thule will pick it up in the corner, though, after it bounces away. Ball on the turf. Rowe picks it up, spins, loses it. Almost grabbed it with his gloved hand, which, of course, you're not allowed to do for anyone not that familiar with the rules of lacrosse. Only the goalie can play the ball with his hand. Rowe comes back nicely, chopping down on Joe Walter's stick. And the one thing I think many coaches and players in this tournament are saying is they'd like to see more consistency from the refs. That's, I think, the common theme throughout the tournament is there have been some decisions that have them a little befuddled.
Well, and I think it's tough. You've got refs who've never worked together. You've got refs who come from different parts of the world, whose experience is a little bit different.
Some are primarily field refs.
And then you have the level of play where the better players want more to be let go, and they should. But when you have, sometimes you've got a mix, or you've got players who are obviously not as skilled, it's tougher for the refs to say, okay, I'll keep the level of play very high, even though a few guys out here maybe aren't that high.
Game management is very challenging in these situations. Buchanan switched hands as he was on his offside, but couldn't catch the pass. So Cole Schaefer will trot up the floor. 33 seconds left in the English penalty.
I think if the Brits were 8 minutes remaining in the regulation, and I think if the Brits can finish this game within 5 of the U.S., they go home pretty pleased.
Oh, I would think so. I mean, they certainly came into this not thinking they were going to win the game, I would think. They're thinking, do the best you can. That's what the coaches from these countries have repeatedly stressed. We are taking the media timeout. I'm Stephen Stamp with Chuck Jaffe. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes after the media timeout with the final 7:53 of U.S. versus England. Welcome back, lacrosse friends, to the Onondaga Nation Arena. I'm Stephen Stamp with Chuck Jaffe. And just going over the score sheet, you're talking about the possibility that if England took a penalty, that the United States might want to take one, because just so they wouldn't give up the shorties. It's actually not a bad proposition, as it is 4 shorthanded goals for England to 3 power play goals for the United States. We'll see here, though, as there's 10 seconds left in this English penalty, whether the States can even that up. Joe Walters for Powell. He's going to shoot. Saved by Rose. Just gets enough of it to direct it off the post and up out of play. U.S. has 2 seconds. They will not get a power play goal here. They may well score right now, as Casey Powell is going to let it rip. No, he's going to pass it to Joe Resetarits, who will score on the spinning shot. Joe Resetarits has actually been very quiet tonight, but there he shows what he can do. A nice little bit of footwork to spin and keep his balance and his sense of where he was shooting.
Well, just kind of cheated in, and the English team let him go. You cannot let the guy in front of the net be free. There's always got to be a hand on him.
It always seems amazing when you see it happen that the guy on the shorthand, England didn't have their 5th defender back yet, that he slips in the middle and somebody doesn't touch him. But it is always, there's always challenges as to who's got to be getting over there and where you can afford to leave some other space open to go in there. But yeah, he's got to be taken. Don't want to sound like I'm making an excuse for it being open. Throw to Holman, whose shot rips from the outside off the shoulder of Rose. Picked up by Keeley, and they're going to say he played it with his hand as he was picking the stick up. And the U.S. will get the ball back. They lead 13-8. Remember, we have one more game today. I'm going to be calling my 4th game today, Chuck, the Canada versus Czech Republic contest.
Canada very impressive after being very sluggish to start last night.
Yes. Here comes Ellison running the floor. Playing his first game of box lacrosse in his life. He has a goal against the U.S., and he was almost turned into wallpaper by Garrett Thule. Just managed to avoid the big check. There's a pass to Claire down the middle. He is hammered. Big hit there.
By Kevin Buchanan.
Back in his own end. And here comes Ryan Hotaling running the floor, switches hands, switches back.
Ryan Hotaling, another local product whose parents come to pretty much every game he plays. They are here today. It's one of those things you will almost always, in fact, I believe you will always see Mrs. Hotaling if Ryan's on the floor.
You have to love the support these players get from their families, from their friends, from their partners. The U.S. is going to get the ball back.
Hotaling has also been something of a lacrosse rat. He has sort of played in the minor leagues and played his way out and gone from good college player at Nazareth, guy who never took faceoffs and then joined the Boston Blazers, started taking faceoffs and became one of the best faceoff men in the league, in spite of having never taken one before.
And it was interesting because he started taking faceoffs because they just needed somebody to take faceoffs. It was kind of like in Pee Wee lacrosse, where they say, who wants to play net? And eventually somebody puts their hand up.
A little bit, actually, and I was the Blazers play-by-play announcer.
There you go.
The Blazers had a faceoff man. But there's a philosophy, as you're well aware, but maybe our audience isn't, that you don't always care about faceoffs. That with a 30-second shot clock, do you want to take a guy who's a good all-around player Or do you want to take a guy who's a face-off specialist? If you take the good all-around player, that guy can help you in a lot of ways. If you take the guy who's the specialist, well, even if they win you the ball on a regular basis, good face-off men are doing 2/3. So great, they're getting you an extra possession, but it still is only 30 seconds with the ball.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. The Blazers, depending on who they were playing, either did or didn't want a face-off man. So it was like, if we don't keep our face-off man, who is Jay Thornburg, on, then who's going to wind up doing it? And that's where Hotelling said, I'm your guy.
And oddly enough, Jay Thornburg has really developed into a very good defender. I mean, he's a solid defender, good transition guy, but just set the record for face-off wins in 1 year in the National Lacrosse League this year, as well as the record for loose balls. Tyson Rowe picks it up, gets the ball stripped away from him, tries to get it back. Kevin Buchanan, he's throwing hits at one end, he's stripping guys on the forecheck at the other. Quite a game for the captain, leading by example. See a bunch of Canadian players down in the corner looking through the glass, watching the final 6 minutes of this game. Walters, for some reason, threw the ball behind his back.
I don't think Nick Rose saw that at all. Nick didn't move.
He didn't move.
And you had
Gillen breaking down on the net. This play is whistled in, quickly shoots, just goes off the leg of Jake Henhock. Again, using that economy of movement to make the save. Here comes the U.S. back the other way.
Isn't that an eloquent way of saying it?
It is. I've actually said very much the same thing. Oh, and shot by Joe Resiteritz off the crossbar. Joseph can't handle it cleanly right off the bat. Slows down his chance to run up the floor. He's going to give it off to the offensive guys.
Now, the player who it's his first box game.
Yes.
How do you make the British national box lacrosse team having never played a box lacrosse game?
Well, that's a great question. But he is a veteran of the British field lacrosse team. Has played with them for quite a while. And, we didn't really have time to go into it a lot further. I would suspect he went to tryouts thinking it would be fun to give it a go. And made the team. I mean, the British team, they are a good team, but they're not ultra deep. And he's a tremendous athlete, as we've seen. Here comes Brian McGill running the other way, looking pretty darn good, going head first into the post.
Oh, really late and really dirty. The thing was, McGill looked him off.
Yeah.
McGill looked the British player off, ran into him, gave him a little shoulder on the way in. And although you never want to see a goalie getting tampered with, and that's part of what happens, the answer is you also don't want to see, and if they're consistent, if the refs are consistent, McGill's not going to get a foul here, and the British player number 2 is going to be gone because he did it after the whistle. That is what happened last night in the Canada-Iroquois game. Paul Dawson twice was called for plays that occurred basically after the whistle. Now, the important thing to remember here is that we also, when you talk about the consistency of the refs, you want to see things called both ways. There was a play last night where Paul Dawson was fouled, where if Paul Dawson's name had perhaps been Dan Dawson or it had been Lyle Thompson, and you had seen that, I'm pretty sure they would have blown the whistle.
Yeah. So we're going to be 5-on-5. There are penalties both ways. It was Alan Keeley, the defender, number 2 that you mentioned, that took the one penalty, and I'm not sure yet whether it was McGill or I think it was probably Joe Resiteritz who jumped to McGill's aid and actually threw a punch. A gloved punch at Keeley, taking the 2 the other way. We'll see when the numbers go up on the board. 4:40 to go here in the fourth quarter. I'm Steven Stamp with Chuck Jaffe, bringing you World Indoor Lacrosse Championship action from the Onondaga Nation.
I am sure that the Canadians, as they came out and looked at the action and saw the scoreboard, probably were shocked.
I'm sure they were. I think a lot of them were shocked throughout the course of the game. Jeff Reynolds catches the pass. They get it to Casey Powell, who is stopped by the post. And it's not often Casey Powell doesn't score on that. He has a bit of a rueful smile and shake of the head as he goes back to the bench.
A momentary worst nightmare for Nick Rose. Hi,
Yes.
the guy on the doorstep. That would be Casey Powell.
Future Hall of Famer, ready to try and beat you with nobody around to help. Claire with the shot from outside. That goes off of somebody. I think it may have been Tyson Rowe, who heads over to the bench looking a little uncomfortable. Shot clock about to expire, so Claire just rips it down the floor. Joe Smith will run it up the floor.
Smith back in the lineup today. He was out yesterday.
Garrett Thule taking his time to go across. 3.5 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Remember, at 7:30 we will have Canada and the Czech Republic our final game of the day. Joe Walters bringing it across the top. 3 to shoot. He's going to let it fly. Rose stops that one. Gillen getting into the face of Casey Powell. Downing running up along the far side, and we'll give it off. Hard pass across. Claire jumps, tries to tuck it past Henhock, who just cozies up to his post and crossbar and doesn't leave him anywhere to go. Nice job by Manny of positioning to be able to get to the ball, but Cole Schaefer did kind of zip around him so that Manny couldn't go straight to the net without impediment.
You know, we also talked about we talked about the player who it's his first box lacrosse game.
Yes.
We should point out that the Swiss national team only really had its first practice for this with everyone there last Wednesday.
Yes, it's an excellent point.
They fought their guts out today, losing 9-7 to Serbia.
Gillen sprinting down the floor, takes a 5. That's going to be a penalty. It may be a 5. As Garrett Thule just brought his stick down, wham, on the head of Michael Gillen. And it's a penalty shot. The breakaway, the foul on the penalty shot on the breakaway, and it will be a penalty shot. Michael Gillen, again, working with a bit of a wonky ankle. Great effort by him. 2:20 to go. You're losing by 5, and he is going absolutely flat out to try and get that chance.
But the other side of this, you know, we were commenting earlier that there had been a play where an English player had held onto the ball under a phenomenal wrap check from behind by Thule. Look, Garrett Thule is 6'4", 6'5", 245 pounds, Army Ranger. So we're not going to say anything bad because he could stuff us in whatever he wanted to and throw us away. But
we'll get back to that right after the penalty shot taken by Cole Schaefer. Jake Henhock setting himself, squaring up. Schaefer comes from wide, cuts across, and Jake Henhock just makes himself big and takes away the opening that Cole Schaefer saw. A nice little move by Jake Henhock to make that save.
Yeah, and Schaefer went too wide. Schaefer needed to cut his angle and make it a little more narrow. And like I said, what we're talking about with Thule is you love the effort. You love the fact that he's going all out and doing absolutely everything. You have to question the percentage. And even at this point, 2 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the game, 5-goal lead, why do you want to be in a situation where you potentially give the British anything that's going to allow them to put shots on net? This is a point in the game where, although I don't think you could say the U.S. feels threatened at this point, time is more important than goals.
Yes. Joel White comes up with the ball off the face-off. The U.S. will take their time. Again, long possessions, the order of the day right here. Although Kevin Buchanan looked like he might just let that one fly. And Joe Walters will shoot pretty much any time. Pass across to Walters. Just 8 seconds left on the clock now. He's still going to back away, though. 3 seconds, and Walters is going to roll it behind his back.
And that's a case of the U.S. proving we care more about time than we do about points.
13-8, 1:40 to go. Britain moving up the floor. Timeout taken by England, showing that they care about trying to get another goal. They've not pulled Nick Rose for the extra attacker yet. I don't know if they're going to here, taking the timeout. Maybe it means they will and try and get a goal or two here.
That could be. I mean, you look, if you're England losing, it sort of depends on what your coaching style is and what did you set your team up for. If you would say that losing by 5 is a real victory, staying within 5 is fabulous, which we would, but we don't know that that's what the coach's metric was. Great, but if you had said, hey, if we are within 4 goals of these guys, that's our victory, then you need to play like losing by 4 goals is that much more important to you. So we'll see what they do.
Well, they're pulling Nick Rose, and it looks like their backup goalie is heading in. He is the one standing by the door. So it looks like he's going to be sprinting to the bench when the opportunity arises as Pugh, the extra goaltender.
Well, you're not going to use Nick Rose. There are many things you can say about Nick Rose.
But the sprinter, he is not.
His speed is not one of them. Now, I will be curious to see how Pugh does because they are coming out with their 6.
Yeah.
To me, I have seen a little bit of this, and in fact, to me, it's Pantelic from the Serbian team. I have never seen a goalie as fast.
Oh my goodness, he can go.
He is It absolutely can scoot, and it makes him something of a weapon.
Tyson Rowe, the big defender out there on the crease to create some havoc. And the one interesting point is no longer do goals for and against matter at this point in the tournament. They score. Cole Schaefer gets the goal just right off the restart. I was going to say goals for and against don't matter because there's no tiebreakers anymore. It's all head-to-head. So how many chances have you had to work on your 6-on-5? Maybe it's just a chance to practice it.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's a chance to get a goal from Cole Schaefer as well.
Really nice play. Well designed, well executed. Don't give him any time now. They do bring Nick Rose back out.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a little disappointed because I would love to see
how fast
the goal.
Pew is?
Yeah, how fast Pew's going to be. We know it's going to be faster than Nick.
Yeah.
Nick walking out, that was fast.
Well, we had the same thing with Jake Henhock earlier in the game. He was pulled when there was a delayed penalty. And later, when it was a break, he just walked in, and I was pointing out, Jake does not like to run if he doesn't have to.
Economy of motion, as we have said. And Jake wants to make sure that you want him to come.
That's right. He wants good eye contact.
Exactly. Like,
a clear message.
Do we really have enough time?
Casey Powell in the corner, Gillen all over him. He spins off. A little grab by Keeley, but the shot clock expires, and Powell will happily leave the ball there. Final minute of play right now, and Rose trots over to the bench. England looking to get into double digits. That would be another accomplishment for this England team if they could get 10 goals against the United States. Of course, 4 of them coming shorthanded of the 9 they've got so far. Nathan Clare down to Sam Clare. He's going to pass it across, and there's a shot. Manwaring let it rip. Jake Henhock made the save, throws it ahead. Constable's going to slow things down, and there you have your wish.
Yeah, although I didn't really get to see him sprint, I'm kind of rooting for the English to get the ball so I can see him running off.
Well, there's a 8-second differential between the shot and game clock, so England should get the ball, and now they're going to get it. Downing gets it, and here he comes.
Yeah, he's got some scoot in him.
We have to stop, though, because they lost the ball. We didn't really get to see his full 40 time. Now he's going. And Manwaring has his stick take going. Now he's going back, and now he's in big trouble. But they're not going to shoot. The U.S. will just pull the ball out. Nice play by Joel White. And Chris Manwaring enjoys a little laugh and a high five or a fist bump with Joel White. And I'll tell you, England did not win this game, but they did win a lot of respect in the international lacrosse community with clearly one of their best performances in the history of the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships.
And as you look at this and you think about the U.S. playing tomorrow, you have to wonder what can they come up with to compete with the Canadians. Because, of course, they will be disappointed if they finish third again in this tournament. They now are into the quarterfinals. They know that for sure.
Yes.
But they have to be able to beat teams that are going to beat England by more than 4.
Yes.
So
and that's a great point. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how Canada performs against the Czech Republic. The Czechs, I felt yesterday, I thought they were going to come out and have a tough time because they'd had a huge emotional win the night before against England, their biggest game of the tournament. They come back the next afternoon having to play an afternoon game against the U.S., a team that had the day off. And it was a recipe for a bit of a blowout for the U.S., I thought.
Well, it was. It would have helped if Mike Poulin had played like Mike Poulin, although he was hung out to dry by his defense. So that's not going to help anytime. And Mike Poulin is the kind of goalie who can make a difference, just as Nick Rose did today.
He is. And, that is the hope that teams like this have to compete against the teams like the United States. A great game today by England. A performance the U.S. will not be thrilled with, but they will be happy that they came back and did what they needed to win.
And they should be. And,
yes.
the other side is, look, if they conserved energy and they get themselves back, if everybody else wants to think they're not that good and they're not going to be able to do it, they'll be perfectly happy to be the underdogs here.
Thanks for coming and spending half the game with me, Chuck Jaffe.
My pleasure.
It is always a pleasure to sit in the chair with you and let you do some color. Take a break from your play-by-play duties. I'm Steven Stamp with Chuck Jaffe for the rest of the crew here at the World Indoor Lacrosse Championships. We have just over an hour until Canada, Czech Republic. Make sure you all come and join us then.